Hi Davey. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through the setup of the cable. It's a little bit complicated, but it should be alright. Just follow what I'm doing and I'll show you the little problems you're probably going to come across as well. So first of all, you've got your astronaut blueprint, and inside this, what I've got is the area where I want the cable to attach to, because it needs a reference. So what I've done is I've created a static mesh like this, static mesh, and I've just called it like, I called it cable route there, as you can see. And when you create that, you don't need to give it a mesh, so it stays invisible. It's just like a component, like an empty in Blender. So put that wherever you want the cable to attach to on the astronaut. For now I've just put it in the middle of his body, it's not really a problem. And when you're done, what you'll notice, even after you've set up the cable, is every time you go into your blueprint, your astronaut, and compile and save, the cable will get detached because you need to refresh its references and that. So to set up the cable, I won't do it with this one, I'll do it with a new one, which I've got here, just so you can see. So put it somewhere where you want the end to begin. So if I just put it in this pipe, because I want it to be attached there, this is the start of the cable and this is the end of the cable. And what you do is you go to the reference actor part here and select the astronaut, and what it'll do is it will reference the astronaut, but it'll just default to the pivot of the astronaut rather than where you want the cable to be. And the reason it's over there, mind you, so I'll just show you this. The end is the astronaut, but it's offset by default here for no reason whatsoever. So if I just put a 0 there, it'll go to the astronaut, and now it's stuck to him. So no matter what I do with the astronaut, I move the astronaut, the cable will stay there. So just bring that back. So that's all you need to do with that. But what I would do is in component name is put the name of your empty, the static mesh you created. So I've called it cable route, so I'll just put cable route in there, and then what it'll do is it'll snap to the component that I created instead. And of course, whatever material you want, you just stick it in here and it'll colour the cable for you. So I'll just put flowers on there, and now we've got flowers for the cable. Right, so that's essentially how to set that up. So I'll just get rid of this cable actor and reattach this one. So I've got astronaut, and then I'll put cable route. Now if I just show you the settings I've got here, ignore these settings, they're not relevant to you, because you want the cable wherever you want to be attaching it. In here I've set the cable length to 350, which is quite important for the animation I've created, and the number of segments to 50. That's basically how wobbly it is and how flexible the cable's going to be. And solver iterations is how stiff the cable is essentially, and I've put that to the maximum, which is 16. If you put it any less than that, the cable is really stringy and it just bounces all over the place. All the other settings here you want to replicate as best you can to get the slowest motion cable but the most stable as well. So I'll just go through these for you. As you can see, the mass doesn't make much of a difference because I've turned the gravity right down. Gravity is enabled and I've turned it to 0, which aids the sort of slow motion movement. if I put the mass up, the cable will just move faster, and you don't really want that. So where is it? I've put mass scale. Where is it? Enable gravity. See it somewhere. So cable gravity scale, nothing. Cable force, nothing. Enable gravity is ticked, and these two don't seem to do anything, but I've just kept them at 0. Now the next part of the setup is quite important. Inside this pipe here, I've created a cylinder, as you can see here. That's going to interact with the cable. I've just hidden it inside, so that way you don't have to enable a collision on this massive object and kill your computer. You just have the collision just here, and then when the cable snaps back, it'll wrap around this cylinder and interact with it as you'd expect, as you can see here. And the very next thing is the animation itself. So I'll just go here. Now, what's strange about this animation is all these spawnables that I've put in. And it's better to do it this way so you can have control of when these things are spawned and not spawned to interact with the cable specifically, so you can have more control of the animation of when you don't actually want the cable to interact, for example, and then when you do want it to interact. So in this animation, what we've got is the astronaut going back to a certain point, maybe the full extent of the cable. So I've set the cable length to 350, and then after this point the cable snaps. So if I show you that in the simulation, just play that, you see here it goes all the way back, and this is just animating the astronaut moving back like you already have done, so you don't have to worry about that. Now here I've set these events, they're quite important. So let me just see. In fact, I'll just get rid of those, I don't need those, sorry. This dictates when the cable gets detached and is super important. So I created an event, and all I've done is I've dragged off it's a cable component event. So basically I've added the cable to the sequencer, and then from here I've added an event trigger, and then what this does is it creates this cable component event track. Ignore this one. Creates this event track, and here, right when the cable is at its maximum, I've created a frame on the event track to set the attach end to be disabled. So if I just drag off this and I go to set attach, just spell it, you know, then I can just do that, and the target is already this, so just copy that and reattach that. So just copy what this is, and I'll just double check these out. Let me just check. I think they were used. Oh right, yeah, I know what they are. So ignore that. Alright, sorry about this. Ignore that. ignore that, that and that. Just pay attention to this, because what they used to be is the cable length setting, because I was trying to solve the cable flipping all over the place at the beginning of the animation. But instead, because you didn't want that, I solved it by doing this instead. So I created a bunch of planes. You can't see them because they're invisible. But if I go to wireframe here, you can see that I've got two planes. So I've got two planes either side of the cable, here and here. And I've got 4 planes here, here, here and here. And these are spawned. So I've just created the planes and then I've dragged them all into the sequencer, then I've right clicked each one and clicked convert to spawnable actor, and it changes the top, but it says convert to spawnable because you want them to despawn after a time like that. Then that way the cable can, when it snaps, it can float freely rather than interacting with the planes. But you need the planes there to stop the cable from wobbling and going all over the place initially, because it'll clip with everything. Clip through everything, sorry, just like it is with the astronaut there. So you need things to block it first. And then at that point, you just animate this spawned checkbox by unchecking the checkbox, and it'll create a frame for you, and then they'll disappear from the scene. And that is pretty much it, to be honest. So hopefully this video shows you how that's all set up clearly enough and what you should do. And if you get stuck or you need any help, just give me a call tomorrow and I'll try my best to walk through it with you. But yeah, a little bit complicated, but it was kind of the only solution really to sort of tame this cable, because it's a bit wild. You know, on the first frame when it first starts the game. Right then, so good luck, and like I said, just give me a call if you need any help. Take care.